One of the most useful things that you can know how to do with essential oils in 2026 is energy field clearing. We live in a time where the algorithm is continuously trying to affect how our nervous system works. We are surrounded by Wi-Fi and all sorts of electromagnetic fields, and we are influenced a lot by politics and finances and all of those things that continuously put us into a state of anxiety. So I write for an essential oils company called Vine Vida, and I had said to them, my New Year's message to them would be, if you learn to do nothing else in 2026, learn about how what is going on around you is affecting your energy field. And if you're already tuned into this, you might already be thinking, well, actually, I even feel the energies change with the sun. You know, might feel the solar flares. You can feel, most people feel the energies changing with how high the sun is in the sky. So a lot of people suffer from seasonal affective disorder. All of these energies are stuff that's going on outside of you, and for the most part, I have to say, it's good. You know, we should be tuned in to what's going on around us, but also I think the more difficult that the energies become, and if the astrologers are to be believed, that when we get to April and 6 planets all go into Aries, and Aries is about war and new beginnings and breaking down of structures and beginning again, if their interpretations of those are correct, by the time we get to April, life is going to be hard. And so the more that we can do to be able to be sovereign in our own bodies, and I kind of hate that expression because, like, oh, to be sovereign, but what I mean by it is controlling our own space and going, that belongs to you, that belongs to me, this is mine. This is mine. If you can be sovereign in your own energy field, you will feel stronger, more grounded, and less kind of, well, as a Cancerian, a really good analogy is like being a boat on the water. You know, that the water is controlling you. The energy of the water is controlling you. If you're sovereign in your own energy field, you will feel less like you're being buttressed by the storm. So I want to talk about 3 oils that perhaps, I think one of them you'll know quite well. The other 2 you might not be so familiar with. And I think that they're really important to go and put in your shopping basket and learn how to use. And these are celery seed. Hardly anybody ever talks about celery seed. I wouldn't be without it. Cedarwood Virginian, which is actually a juniper, but we'll talk about that. And also Cypress. And I kind of think that most people will go, yeah, I kind of expected you to say Cypress. But I wanted to define why the 3 act in different ways and why using the 3 of them in tandem will be so good for you over 2026. And incidentally, no need to scribble down loads and loads of notes, because I'm going to put them on a slide for you at the end. But also the video that follows this will teach you a recipe to put them into an energy field clearing spray so that you can use them all of the time. So all I want to do today is talk about the theory behind those oils, and then you can go to the next video and think about practice. Watch this bit first. So celery seed, why do I love that oil? Well, actually, I don't like the smell very much at all. I don't think it smells great. And the funny thing is, there aren't many things in life that I really, really hate. I really hate raw celery. You know, as a child, you could not get me to eat it. And I went to work for a while. I was a personnel manager in the supermarket, and the training was we had to go into all the different departments and learn how to do different things, like how to make the donuts, how to what else, cut the fish, had to set up a fish counter with all the ice at 5 o'clock in the morning. Had to learn to do all of those things. My favourite thing was stacking butter. I have no idea why. I just loved going to the dairy department. But what I didn't like was when we went into the salads department and I had to create a huge, great big vat of cutting up loads and loads of celery. I will never forget the smell of it as long as I live. I absolutely hated it. So it's very strange that this would be an oil that is so good for my nervous system. And on one hand, that was kind of waffle, but I kind of want that to be a message to you that just because you don't like the smell of an oil doesn't mean to say that it won't be useful to you. Don't immediately reject it. Kind of inhabit the space of, well, why is that? And for me, what celery seed essential oil does so well is, because I'm a highly sensitive person, and by that I mean kind of like an empath in terms of people's mood and physiology. I wouldn't say that was a medical intuitive. I'm not that good, but I really do pick up on people's mood and kind of what's going on in their life. Even if they don't say it, I can feel it. I can feel it in my actual body. And so if you're going to, for example, if I go to Birmingham, which is like the second city in the UK, and it's a place that is a thriving cultural place, but also full of people, a lot of people who are worried about money. So as I walk through it, no matter how much I try to focus on how much I absolutely love the architecture of the buildings and love the fact that everyone's singing and there's music and steel bands and stuff like that, what my body goes is, oh my God, I've got no money. That's what I can feel. And of course, when I got on the train, probably I didn't think that, because if I did think that, I wouldn't have thought, oh, I can afford the train fare to go and do something so frivolous. So what I've absorbed is other people's thinking and feelings. And of course, that is executed through the energetic field, through the aura, through the etheric bodies. And specifically, thinking goes into the fourth etheric body. I had to count it out. So you've got the electromagnetic field, you've got the physical template, which is where physical disease comes out. Second is body of will. So of course it'll affect body of will, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And third is your emotional body. Fourth is your mental body. And so it's really affecting my thoughts. And my thoughts then affect my mood and my feelings. And then long term, of course, we know through psychoneuroendocrinology, our thoughts and affect our nervous system, which then in turn affect our physical well-being. So not being affected by other people's emotional and mental fields could be seen as a physical act of defense. So celery seed is really, really helpful. And I will stress, I use my essential oils a lot for this kind of work. I don't actually use them that much for physical healing. I'm very much the kind of person that goes, no, I'm not going to work proactively, because if a bug comes, if I get, if the flu bug goes around, I want my immune system to go, what in heaven's name just hit me? I don't want it to be familiar. So I don't use essential oils as much as people would imagine. But for this kind of work, I really like to work with this energetic field. So sometimes that will be topical use. A lot of times it will be inhalation. It's definitely not with celery seed. But what I like to do is to put it into sprays and inhalers and mix it with other oils. So even though you can't actually smell it, I'm letting the molecules, and more to the point, the actual energetic field of the plant, the spirit of the plant, do the work. So celery seed is the first one, that it will protect the energetic field to kind of go, that belongs out there, this belongs to me, and therefore I am sovereign. So that's the first one. And I'll do a slide at the end, but it's a really safe oil to use. I always say to everybody, I don't really advise using essential oils in the first 16 weeks of pregnancy, but if you're through that, then no other contraindications, you can use it. Maximum dilution 3%. I can feel a sneeze. Excuse me. AI will tell me to edit that out, but I won't. Sorry, have my germs. So that's the first thing. So if ever there was a visual of you will keep that where you are, that was it, wasn't it? So the second oil, which one shall I talk about? I will talk about cedarwood next. Cedarwood Virginian. So when you read internet pages, a lot of the cedarwoods will be grouped together as if they are one thing. And I have to say, in the past, I've been guilty of doing this, but this is something that I feel very strongly about, that there are different types of plants that are called cedar, and I'll explain why in a minute, called cedar, but they are different and have different powers. So the word cedar comes from kudru, which has kind of two meanings. It's the Egyptian word, the Greek word that means needle, because it has like needles on it, but it also is really related to the ancient word for power. So therefore these are seen as powerful trees. And if you've ever seen a cedar tree, it doesn't matter what kind of cedar we're talking about, they are magnificent, aren't they? They look powerful. And we have beautiful ones here in the UK, which are cedars of Lebanon that were imported and put into the big stately homes. So if you ever go to somewhere like a National Trust property, the chances are there is a cedar of Lebanon in there, and they are huge, great big strapping spreading things, and they're very closely related to cedarwood atlas, Cedrus atlantica. So Cedrus libani is cedar of Lebanon. Cedrus atlas is cedarwood atlas, and then also Cedrus deodara. So Himalayan cedarwood is a Cedrus. The one, and all of those are very good for any kind of negative thinking. But the reason why I talk about Cedarwood Virginian is because it acts on a very specific part of the aura, which I think is really important right now. So we've talked about how we have these cedruses in Europe. So imagine around about 1500 specifically, Sir Walter Raleigh sends out his boats, his ships, and says, go and explore this new land and find me great treasure. Paraphrase, but not much. It was nothing short of a pirate, really. And he sent out these different boats to go to Virginia. They landed in Virginia. And the letters that were sent back from his different sailors and sort of merchant seamen was, you should see this place. I mean, you've never seen anything like it, and you should see the size of the cedars. Now, the reason why they go, this gave them a really exciting thing to find a cedar, because these trees grow really tall and thin. So what they'd seen was trees that grow tall and thin, so very, very strong, thick trunk, so good for construction, for shipbuilding, that's what I'm trying to say, because they're waterproof. So in Europe, the supplies of those were running out, so immediately they saw the trees and saw pound signs. And so these were the cedars, and these names have stuck even though they're not cedars. But what's interesting is, because they were talking about so much, when you hear First Nations people talking about them, the cedars are really important to a lot of First Nations tribes in North America, particularly, especially up sort of towards Canada and Alaska way, and they call her the grandmother cedar. Now, there are lots of different cedars in North America, and particularly the main grandmother cedar is Thuya occidentalis. But they all kind of look at the tree with this kind of eyes that it is a benevolent spirit, it is protective, and it is soothing. So when I pick up Cedarwood Virginian, Juniperus virginiana, what I feel is this. So imagine, for example, that I have imposter syndrome. You don't have to imagine that. It's so true. And I'll be like, oh, I don't think I can say that. It's arrogant. I don't think I've got the guts to do that. I actually think that's somebody else's work. I shouldn't do that. And this is continual. This is like an insight into my brain all of the time. So what Cedarwood Virginian goes is, excuse me? That's my granddaughter you're talking about. My granddaughter can do absolutely everything. Anything she puts her mind to. And it really does have that energy for me of like, will you be kinder to yourself? So this is a great oil to work with if the negative energy comes from within. The thing to understand about the aura and the energy fields is they are bidirectional, right? So what that means is we talk, about the bra strap. We talk about having intuition coming in, and it comes in through the etheric bodies, translates through the aura into the chakras, into the physical body, but then also goes, do you want to know what's going on in here? So it sends that out. So this is why, for example, in the mental body, what we'll see is memories that are stuck, traumas that are stuck. So that's kind of almost like proof for you about the bi-directional framework of it. And so being really careful to go, do not pollute it from the inside out. And Juniperus virginiana is a really great one to use that, Cedarwood Virginian. Also, this is a tree that grows vigorously in a lot of places, and on one hand it is a sacred plant to indigenous populations, and so that is something to really bear in mind, but there is so much of it. There's so much of it. And so this, unlike something like Cedarwood Atlas that probably you'll read in a textbook that says negative thinking, but there are challenges to that. So Cedarwood virginiana, absolutely fantastic for cleaning your energy field. And the last one, because I only want to talk about 3, even though there are more, incidentally. There will be more videos like this, but I want to keep it neat. So the other one that I would recommend for you right now is Cypress. And the reason why you have likely already come across this is because the wisdom of Cypress being a kind of a protective boundary to the energy fields is as old as history itself. You know, you can trace the practice right back to ancient Greece. You can see it written lots in Roman times. And the reason for that is because of dead people. Cypresses grow in graveyards. They were used as in funeral pyres. And so bear in mind, it's so full of like alpha-pinene and limonene, which we know today are really antibiotic, antimicrobial. So if you're going into a place that's really quite dodgy in terms of energy, germs is like a really tangible way of looking at energy, isn't it? It's full of germs. So wafting it around sent the molecules out and helped to protect the energetic field. And remember, this is not, we call this New Age philosophy. It's not new. People have been thinking this way forever and ever, amen. It only became kind of woo, if you like, when Descartes decided that the mind and the body were separate. And so sort of empirical medicine went, oh yeah, we'll just concentrate on that side. Well, now we understand that was a turn in the road that went the wrong way. No, we know that they're together. Psycho, neuro, endocrinology. Our thoughts affect our nervous system, affect our health. And then we also have psycho-neuro-immunology, which is probably more salient with what I'm saying. So our thoughts affect our nervous system, that affect our immunity. So that would explain to a certain extent why somebody can go into a graveyard and be affected, and somebody can go into a graveyard and not be affected. Our nervous system may be, but also our immune systems are down. So where we talked about celery seed is about this is my stuff and this is your stuff, and being sovereign in it only being our energy field, unpolluted by anything, whether that be like a neutral thing, really. It's not necessarily saying, oh, you're a bad person, I don't want to be by you, although that can be the case. It's as much about, oh my goodness me, you're a mood hoover, or actually, I just don't want to carry your stuff with me today. And then that is fair, right? No healer has to be open to everybody else's energy all of the time. In fact, it's better if you're not. So that's celery seed. So it says, this is neutral. I'm not making any judgment on the nature of this energy. I just don't want it. Cedarwood says, excuse me, that energy that's coming from you is polluting your energy field. I don't like that. Let's raise the internal energy. Cypress says, no, that definitely is not what I want to be around. That has got a lower vibration. There's less life there. By very definition, there's less life. So I'm just going to keep my vibration higher because I need that radiance. So, yeah. I wasn't really going to talk about this, but when I said about the light, I was reading this morning about some studies that they're doing on something called biophotons. And this is the study that when mice die and certain plants die, that when they die, a little light goes out. There's an actual emanation of light that goes out. And of course they're reluctant to say that's the aura because it's so hard to prove. But I said to my husband, God, none of them are fish keepers then, are they? And straight away, he is the most grounded person. He would not have gone down like a spooky route in interpretation. And he just laughed and he went, no. Because when a tropical fish dies, it noticeably looks different. And of course, its blood stopped flowing. But it just goes, all of the lightness goes out from it. And when they're in the tank, depending on which tank it is, they've all got names in some of the tanks. Some of them, they look too similar to each other for me to be able to do that. But in several of the tanks, I can go, oh, that's such and such. Hi, what have you been doing today? And they've all got characters. But when they're dead, you can't tell anymore. It's just gone. All of the colours have gone down. And so this really is the absence of light. And so protecting your aura, protecting your energetic field is about protecting the light. And so therefore it's a bit, we can consider this work to be a bit like cleaning the windows, you know? Cleaning the windows and then also putting mirrors around ourselves to say, I like it in here, stay away. So, how would I use them? In the bath? All of those you could use in the bath. As you know, that is my go-to thing, a couple of drops. The scientists will tell you that the oils won't mix with the water, and that is true. Still have the effect from them, to be honest, but putting them into a drop of honey definitely helps that. So in the bath, you can definitely use them topically. Remember that essential oils have many actions. So I always say essential oils don't have side effects. They have many main effects. So we can consider that if cedarwood, for example, were in another blend for another thing, I don't know, be very good for your skin, for example, you might have put it into a face cream, you're also getting that effect by default. But actually doing it in a way that is intentional, I hate these words that sound like they come out of AI, but actually deliberate, of proned with your energy flow, of actually focus intention, I do think that that's going to be more effective. But for me, sniffy sticks, so just, you know, like the little inhalers that you can just sniff off, even just a drop on a tissue, so like you can just go, because it will emanate quickly. But by far the best thing is going to be an aura spray. Now, aura sprays are not easy to make because they defy the physics of aromatherapy. So you will have seen lots of videos, I'm sure, on YouTube that show you how to do an aura spray, but I bet I can count on my one hand which ones are good. So in the next video, click the link and I will show you the bits that make it chemically correct, and then energetically, not orgiastically, energetically correct. Click the link.